Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. Today I am joining my upline and her team for a very special Glitter Queens First Friday's blog hop. We're going to be doing this the first Friday of every month, and I hope to join often. I'm starting off with my Stampin' Up! Scoreboard, but you can also use your paper trimmer and the scoring tool and a piece of designer series paper. It's 5 inches by 10 inches. And this is just a little template that I made. I actually went through probably 4 different sheets of 12 by 12 paper at different sizes, trying to figure out how to make this work on a standard A2 size card that's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that's what I came up with, 5 inches by 10 inches, and then I'm going to score it at 1 inch, 1 1/2 inches, 2 1/2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4 1/2 inches, 5 1/2 inches, 6 inches, 7, 7 1/2, 8 1/2, and 9. And I'll go ahead and leave those measurements up on my blog for you so you can check those out. Before I fold this, I'm going to use my grid mat. You could use a ruler, and I'm going to mark it on the long side at 4 1/2 inches and 5 1/2 inches, both the top and bottom, and then also on each side I'm going to mark it at 1 3/4 inches and 3 1/4 inches. Make sure you do this on the left and right side. Now I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to line up the line. So it's hard to explain. So as you can see, these are the 2 hash marks in the middle. I want the one closest to the side and the top. So the top and the top of the side, the top of the top, and I'm lining those 2 up with the groove in the track there of my trimmer, and then I just cut it. That will cut it at the right angle that I need. So again, I've got my line here. I want to make sure I don't get that bottom line, and I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to take the other side and line it up. There you go, that bottom line there. I hope that makes sense. There's probably a better way of explaining it, but that's the best I can do. Think of it like connecting the dots and then cutting. So now I'm going to fold this on the score lines, and you might find it easier to go back and forth a little bit with these score lines, and you definitely need a bone folder. I start with the print I want to see the most of facing up, and then I also start from the center and I fold out. And this way the print that's on the back will show just a little bit at the top and the bottom of my folds. If you want the opposite print to show, you just flip it over and fold it in the opposite direction. You can play around with these folds to see different ways that you like it to look too with that center piece. So for my stamping, I'm going to be using That's the Tag stamp set along with the Timeless Tags thinlits that coordinate. I die cut just the plain oval in white, and I use Sweet Sugarplum to cut out that. It reminds me of a sunburst, so I was kind of thinking of Easter morning. Our theme this month is Easter. The Timeless Tag that's just the oval has a little circle that's die cut out of it, and I didn't really want that circle, so what I did was I just took a piece of tape and I taped the back side of it and stuck the little hole in that was left over when I die cut, and that keeps it in place and hidden. In order to position this perfectly, I'm going to use my Stamp-A-Majig, and I didn't want my egg to move around while I stamped, so I took my 2-way glue pen and just scribbled a little glue, let it dry, and it becomes tacky but not like a permanent stick, so it'll just stick long enough to hopefully stay in place. And then I lined up my die cut, and I'm going to show you in a minute how I got the stamping onto that clear sheet, but my camera wasn't rolling the first time I did it. So the Stamp-A-Majig is in the right position. I just go straight down and up with my stamp. This works with whatever kind of block you want. Just if you're using the clear block, you put the image on it before you do this next step. So I line up the clear sheet into the corner of my Stamp-A-Majig, and then I ink up my stamp, press straight down and straight up. Now this shows exactly where that stamp is going to stamp. I can line it up on my cardstock where I want to stamp, and then I bring my Stamp-A-Majig over to it and line it up with the clear sheet, then again straight down and up, and I've got it stamped exactly where I want it. My next step will be to just adhere the die cut with a little bit of 2-way glue. Actually, I used a lot bit. I don't know why I used so much. You don't need that much. line it up and press it down. Oops, press it down. For my faux belly band, I'm just using some scraps of paper. I think it's a 1/8 inch strip of Blushing Bride cardstock and a 3/4 inch or maybe 1 inch strip of DSP from that same Blooms and Bliss pack. And then I'm using my clear blocks to kind of hold those folds down while I add some adhesive to the back. You could also add adhesive to the front underneath each of those folds, either your 2-way glue pin or more of that tape to just hold it. I'm showing you, just hold it down, but I kind of like it having that little bit extra puff, so I didn't do that. I removed the adhesive, I'm lining it up, looking at the top and bottom especially to make sure it's even, and then I'll cut the excess off of either side. And then I take my belly band and I'm adding more of that tape to this, and that will also help to keep those folds down. And I'll put that across the center of my card, and I will cut off the excess from either side of that strip. The designer series paper I'm adhering all of this to is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and then I also have a piece of plain cardstock cut 1/8 of an inch larger, and that is at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I'm just using my snail adhesive to adhere all of these down to my standard A2 card. My last step will be to use some dimensionals to pop up that Happy Easter, and that will be my card. I want you to be sure and head on over to my blog if you're over on YouTube and check out the blog hop, leave comments along the way, and see what all of these fabulous ladies have come up with. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like my card, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more from me. I will see you on the hop. Bye.